We'll chant Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to Puru and Suresh ji. We are here in our satsangs, Sunday satsangs. We study Bhagavad Gita. Now, in the beginning, from the beginning of this academic year, we were studying Gita Panchamritam and we just completed Gita Panchamritam in our last session. As we completed Gita Panchamritam, we are reverting back to what we were studying, which is Bhagavad Gita in detail. Now, we were in chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita and we finished 13 shlokas in chapter 8. However, the last time any one of you heard chapter 8, I know like some of you are attending for the first time and the ones who attended chapter 8 in the past was before our summer break, that is back in June. So we need to do a little bit of a revision. So the ones who are joining today for the first time, you joined on at the right time because we are going to review what we have studied. Okay. So let us talk a little bit about where we are and what Bhagavad Gita is. Now, Bhagavad Gita is what we call as a source text of our entire Vedas and all our scriptures. So it is a comprehensive text where it covers the essence of all the Upanishads, and Upanishads are the essence of entire Veda. Now, in this Bhagavad Gita, we have 18 different chapters, and they are organized into 3 sections. So that is 6 chapters each, 1 to 6, 7 to 12, and 13 to 18. Now, 1 to 6 is primarily focused on our individual nature. Who am I? Okay. And second set of 6 chapters are focused on what's the nature of God. And the third set of 6 chapters are focused upon what is the relationship between me and God. Okay. Because these are the fundamental questions that we always have. Any religion doesn't matter. No matter who you are, who I am, always when I say like who am I, I'm not looking at what is my name, what is my dad's name, mother's name, like that, or where did I come from, which town, what is my hometown, but what was I before? Where was I before my birth? Where would I go after my death? Okay. What is the whole purpose of this life? So this is the and obviously when I start thinking about it, Then the question also comes about who created me, why did this creation happen, etc. And then finally, the other question is, if God has created me, what is the relationship between God and me? So these are the three questions that the Bhagavad Gita addresses across each set of 6 chapters. Now, this in our Vedanta or in our Upanishads, we have some great statements. These statements are called Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas are the essence of entire Vedanta, essence of entire Upanishads, essence of entire spirituality are packed in very small. So Mahavakya is means it doesn't mean like it's a huge sentence. Rather, they pack so much power. Okay, and the power that is packed, what we call Mahavakyas. One of the great Mahavakyas is called Tattvam Asi. Tat. So Tattvam Asi has got 3 words in there. Tat, Tvam, Asi. Tat means that. Tvam means you. Asi means are. So that means you are that. So you are that. What kind of statement is that? Is that you as a individual being is same as that, which is that indicates something that is far away. That indicates one who has created this universe or the essence of this universe. So you and the essence of this universe is one and the same. So, and the source from which the entire universe has come, and where the entire universe merges back into, and where this entire universe is suspended in, all of that is that. Now, here the beauty is we don't call that as Bhagwan. We don't call that as he or she, because that force is beyond gender, beyond everything. Okay, so this you are that. When we say that, for us to understand that, we need to go lot more do a lot more deep dive. So that's how the Gita is presented in 6 chapters each. So the first set is that you, that portion, right? Tvam. And the second set is that. Okay? That. So now in seventh chapter, okay, so with that, right? In seventh chapter, what happened is that Bhagavan started describing the nature of himself. Okay. And he promises that I'm going to chapter which you are covering is 8th chapter, but I'm summarizing from chapter 7. Okay. So he says that, so when I'm summarizing, obviously, like I'm not covering all these shlokas, but the concepts, key concepts from 7th chapter. Okay. He says that I have 2 aspects. When Bhagwan, God, has 2 aspects. And each aspect is called as Prakriti. Okay. So I have 2 aspects. Each aspect is called Prakriti. And the lower aspect is called as, in verse 4, he says, Bhumirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhireva chahankara vitiyam me bhinna prakrutastha. So my lower aspect is contained of 8 factors. Bhumi, apaha, analaha, vayu, kham. Manaha, buddhi, ahankara. These are the 8 aspects are there. So Bhumi means earth. Earth means do not consider as the physical earth, but understand it as solid matter. So that means the sun that you see, the moon that you see, all of the planets, stars, everything is solid matter. So all of that is earth alone. Okay. That I mean, like anything that is solid is earth alone. That's how we need to understand. Apaha means water, liquid. Analaha means air. Sorry. Apaha means water. Analaha means fire. And then Vayuhu is air. And Kham means space. Now, space and air, we separate differently because air is in the space. Okay. And now space, do not think as again like English word space, where space means when I leave Earth, and Earth's orbit or whatever, I mean, Earth's atmosphere, that is when I enter into space, not that kind. Space is all around us. We are in space, and space is in and out of my body. Okay. In and through my body. Okay. So space is outside my body, inside my body, through the body. That's how we need to understand space. So these are this first five that I mentioned: Bhumi, meaning the solid matter; Apaha, water; Analaha, fire; Vayu, air; Kham, space. All of these five are called Panchamahabhutas, five great elements. Along with that, Manaha means mind, Buddhi, intellect, and Ankara, ego. With these eightfold together is Bhagwan's lower Prakriti, or the lower nature of God. Then he says that other than this, I also have a higher nature. What is this higher nature? This is a higher Prakriti, is one that makes this world go, one that makes this world sentient. What makes you sentient or I sentient is the life force within me. And that life force, okay, that Chaitanya is my higher nature. Now, this entire world that you see is a combination of this lower nature and higher nature. And other than these two natures, there's nothing else in this world. And I am those two natures incomplete. And here he actually gives a very famous example for those students who study Bhagavad Gita. He says, Sutre Manigana Iva. So, my Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. It is as if the entire world, think about as a beautiful necklace. Okay? A beautiful necklace which has got so many kind of diamonds or whatever, like a precious jewelry, and different colors, different sizes, different forms. Okay. And how are they all tied is because with a thread inside. Okay. That thread inside, which is invisible to us, is the one that is holding all these beads together. Okay. So in the same way, all the forms that we are seeing as humans, animals, trees, plants, oceans, mountains, etc., all of them are tied with this higher nature, which is that consciousness. Okay, so and that sutra means the thread, Manigana, meaning the groups of gems. Okay, so just like that single thread is holding on to the everything, in the same way, that higher nature of God is holding on to the entire lower nature of God. That is what he said. Now, obviously, like, to understand this, what do we need to do is we need to have some uh, proper intelligence, and we need to be able to see this in our right in our midst. We had to be able to see this not necessarily by going to Himalayas or by going to Kashi or some the temple, etc. But I should be able to experience it right around me, no matter where I am sitting, where am I, where I am standing. Now, for that, what happens is that we categorize this Maya. Maya means the Prakriti, the nature, into three ways. One, what we call as Sattva, meaning like pure nature of purity, meaning like, without any dirt. Okay, so that is Sattva. Rajas means agitation. Right within us, there is agitation. Because of that agitation, we do any work. If there is no agitation, if our mind is completely calm, we don't do any work. And then agitation means like, I want something. That is a disturbance in mind. Oh, I want something. So I'll get up and go get a cup of tea, or whether it is a breakfast, or whether I do something, work, everything because I want. So there is a thought. Either I want, so I need to do something, or I don't want. I want to avoid something, because of that I do something. So that agitation in mind, because of which anything can be done, is called rajas. And then also there is a uh, laziness also. Okay. So where I don't want to do anything, not because I am content, but I don't feel like doing it. So this is called as tamas. This tamas, okay, sattva, rajas, and tamas. When tamas or rajas are in, when tamas is high, then that means that I don't want to learn anything, I don't want to see anything, I don't want to do anything. In those cases, you cannot experience this great truth that Bhagavan spoke about. In the same way, when rajas is high too, what happens is that I'm running around things all around the world and I'm failing to stay still and experience the truth of the world. So, but on the other hand, if my mind is pure, then what happens is that I want to understand who this God is, etc. Right? So when we start doing that, we are called as devotees. That is when I want to know God. Now, in this, when I want to learn about devotees, we say that there are four types of devotees are there. Four types. Now, it doesn't mean that there's a lower or higher. I mean, there are actually like so. One is called as artha. Second is artharthi. Third is jignasu, and fourth is jnani. These are the four gradations that are there. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukruto arjuna, sukrutino arjuna, artho jignasu artharthi jnani cha bharatarshapha. Okay. Now these four types of devotees, what are these four types of devotees is something like this. The first is something think about a parent is there, the child is sick, and maybe severe sick illness is there. Now, what is he doing? Of course, he goes to the doctor to for cure, etc. And all of that is happening, but he's also praying to God, please, God, help me, help me, help me, help me get over this problem. So, why, when I reach out to God to get rid of a problem, that is called as artha. So that means that I have a problem. I want to avoid that. That is when I'm in that mode, I am a devotee who is called as artha. But this is when I have a I have a bad situation I want to get rid of. Okay. This is that get rid of something that I dislike. But on the other hand, sometimes I want something that but I don't have. Say, for example, I need to buy a car. I need a transportation and my car broke. So I need to buy a car, but I don't have any money. So again, I turn to God and say, please, God, help me find a car. Okay, help me find a car that I can afford, okay, which is a good car. Okay, good car means like that can help me to go from point A to point B without any problem. Okay, so like that, when I want something, but I don't have, then, but I'm still turning to God asking for it, it is called as artharthi. Artha means wealth. Okay. Arthi means one who is requesting, desirous of wealth. That is artharthi. So artha is I want to get rid of something that I don't want. Second is I want to have something that I don't have. These are artha and artharthi. Now the third one is now as you are getting this artha, we may all start with artha. Okay, majority of us start with artha because we don't know if God can give us anything or not, but at least please take away because I'm in so much pain. I want to get rid of this pain. Okay, so that's why like majority of us as a humanity, we start as artha, then artharthi. Because now I got some confidence that God can take away some of my issues, then probably He can give what I want. Now, when this is happening multiple times in our life, then we get a Mm, we, there is a new interest worked up in our mind. What is it? Who is this God who is giving me whatever I need and taking away whatever I don't need? Now I want to understand this nature of God. So let me talk to somebody who can explain this to me. And that means that I may want to read a scripture. I want to listen to someone who is describing a scripture. Okay, so this, when you have that kind of a curiosity, that a devotee based on that curiosity to learn the nature of God is called as jignasu. Artha, Arthati, and Jignasu. These three kind. Now, please, from the way I have described, it appears that Artha is the lower, Arthat is little higher, and Jignasu is little higher. But please do understand that we uh, oscillate between all these three states on a continual basis. Until when? Until we understand the truth of the nature, truth of the Lord. Okay, truth of the Lord, understanding truth of Bhagwan is same as understanding truth of our own nature. When that happens, then I become, or we all become jnani. Jnani means a person who has knowledge. When that happens, then what happens is that all of these three do not matter anymore. Like I won't be worried about any of this because I become one with God. Okay. So this jnani is definitely superior to these three, but uh, so as a result, and when you become jnani, you are one with God. So there's no difference between you and God. You and God are one and the same. That is a whole, remember, like, no, that is a Tattvamasi. That's what this person actually understands and he abides in that. So now, for obviously, like for him, nothing else is needed. So Jnani is same as Bhagwan, Bhagwan is same as Jnani, not a big deal. But these three people, right? What do they need? They need some kind of assurance from time to time. Okay, so what Bhagwan does is, no matter which way you pray to God, okay, he blesses us. I mean, like he may sometimes he may gives you what you ask. Sometimes he may take away what you ask to take away. But he does what is right for us as opposed to what we want. Now, let us say if I say like, okay, Bhagwan, give me like $20 million by tomorrow, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. I will not get it. Why? Because that is not what I need at this present moment of time, even though that is my desire, my want. Okay. So what I want versus what I need at this moment are two different things. Bhagwan gives what I need, not what I want. Okay. So now, but on the other hand, he cannot, uh, on the other hand, if he doesn't give me something, then I will lose faith in God. So what he does is that when I'm praying to God, one thing that he gives is faith. Faith means that faith in God, that I can trust God for all my things, whether it's good things or bad things, whatever, I can put my problems on God and God will take care of it. Now, here, this one seems like at the first brush, it appears as if it is getting out of responsibility, my responsibility, and transferring my responsibility from myself to a third unknown entity, which is unseen, unheard. Okay. But here, from a Vedanta perspective, from our Hindu religious perspective, God is not any different from you, your true inner nature. So, one, you're not putting anything on someone else. Rather, you are taking that responsibility, but at a much, much higher level, much deeper level. So, what does it mean? Think about this way, right? You have a problem. When you have a problem, there are so many factors that is influencing that problem. And the solution also has so many aspects to it. You have control on only one aspect, which is what you can do. Other than that, there is nothing you can do other than what you can do, right? But majority of time, what we do is we don't necessarily do what we are supposed to do. Rather, we worry. And this worry about what is going to happen, that drains us completely. Okay. But when we follow the scriptural guidelines that we trust that God will take care of it, everything will be all right. Okay. I mean, not everything will be all right, but okay. So everything is according to God's plan, and I must abide in God's plan and I must accept things the way they are as opposed to as I want. So when I have that kind of a mindset, what happens is that my worry is going down. Okay. My anxiety goes down. When my worries and anxieties are going down, I'm at a calm, peaceful mind. When I have a calm, peaceful mind, my output is way, way better. Okay? So from a psychology perspective, from a scientific perspective, as from a religious as well as religious perspective, this is a higher level of knowledge, a higher level of understanding that we should have. Okay. And that is what Bhagavan is saying, that when he says that I'm going to give you faith, please do not understand that it is some okay, a blind faith where I go to temple and sit there chanting whatever name of the Lord or okay, it is not like that. Okay, so this way he explains what he is going to give. Now, what happens is that when that kind of knowledge is given, when you are thinking about God and you are trying to understand the nature of God, after a long time is why is it taking a long time is for us to understand and assimilate this knowledge across all the disturbances that we have in the world. Why? Because say like for example, like today, this morning at 9 a.m., all of us came and sat here and we started discussing this. At 10 a.m., we'll close this session. When we close this session, we are distracted by our own family life. Yeah, we need to do so many things. Okay, so many things are lined up, and like as the time is winding up towards 9:45, 9:50, your attention goes away from what we are hearing or what we are speaking, rather than what happens. Oh, as soon as this session is done, I need to do this, I need to do that. Okay, so all that list will be there, right? So that's how like we are distracted. So because of that, now what happens is that what it means is that it is starting 1 hour a week. Okay. And then like that, like then it has to grow, where our mind is, no matter what we are doing, our mind is thinking about what is my true nature. Okay. And that is a, a spiritual evolution, not a revolution. Okay. It is not going to change. It is not going to happen overnight. It is going to take its own due course in a systematic manner based upon the amount of effort we put in. Okay. And as we put in, then what happens is that there comes a movement, okay, where you understand that God alone is there. So whatever God has said, I alone am there, right? So that becomes our knowledge. Okay. So then we say that we understand, we come to a state where we understand Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Okay, so Vasudeva Sarvamiti means now Vasudeva, typical translation of Vasudeva is none other than Lord Krishna. So when he says Lord Krishna is everything, please do not understand it as Lord Krishna is everything, hence Lord Rama is nothing, or Lord Hanuman is nothing, Lord Shiva is nothing, like that. Rather, understand there's only one God, and God alone is everything. And that God alone that is there, if Lord Krishna is everything, then let us take, right, from that example. Okay. Lord Krishna is everything. Then who is Lord Rama? It is Lord Krishna alone. Who is Lord Shiva? Lord Krishna alone. Who is Allah? Lord Krishna alone. Who is Jesus? Lord Krishna alone. Or if Jesus is everything, Lord Krishna is also Jesus. Allah is also Jesus. Like that, no matter what name we give, what form or formlessness we think about, all of that is reaching to one God alone. Name doesn't matter there. And that God that is there is in and through everything around me. That becomes my direct personal experience. So that state is what the ultimate state is. Now, when he says that, what happens is that this is what we call as when someone attains that state in our Vedanta, we call it as Jivan Mukti. So that means liberation while living. So typically, at least in if you're familiar with Indian movies, etc., right? I mean, like from olden days, like mythological, we would call as mythologically the wrong word. I take it back. We would call them as in at least in Indian colloquial Pauranika movies. We say like many story movies which talks about some Puranas. What happens is that when someone dies, a light from their body goes and merges with God. So that means that after death they are becoming one with God. That is our understanding. So that means that if I had to become one with God, if I had to get moksha, first I had to die. Okay, so hence I don't want to die, so I don't want moksha right now. I want moksha, yes, but at a later time. So that's why we push away because of that misunderstanding. But what Bhagavan is promising is that for moksha, you don't have to die. You can have moksha right here and now. So, but in moksha, there is a death. What is the death? Is our jivatva. Jivatva means our individuality dies. When our individuality dies, means what? Our individuality merges with the supreme reality, then you become one with God. So then there is no you and God, two different entities. This is one alone that exists. That one is there even before, but that oneness I forgot. I am unable to perceive that oneness. And the moment I perceive that oneness, my limitedness is going away. So this is what we call as moksha. So now this is the final ultimate state. But not everybody may be able to come to that state of moksha. So in that case, what happens is they, I mean, like that's the ultimate, right? But again, as we said, it is going to take a long time. So in the meantime, people may be performing some mental upasanas, mental pujas, upasanas. Pujas, again, please do not think as like going to temple and paying priest for like $11 or $21 for Abhishekam. Not that kind of puja. You are sitting in front of Bhagwan and you are thinking about God. Whether you're sitting in front of Bhagwan or not, it doesn't matter too. You are thinking about God. You are trying to see God everywhere like that. When when they when they are doing that, what happens is that Bhagavan says, Jara Marana Moksha Mama Shruti Yadanti Te Brahma Tatvidu Kritsnam Adhyatma Karma Chakilam Sadhi Pudadi Daivam Mam Sadhi Yajnam Chaye Vidu Prana Kale Picha Mam Te Vidur Yukta Chetasaha. These are the two final shlokas of chapter 7. So where he says that they want to get liberation from Jara and Marana, from old age and death, and they approach me and they treat me as Brahman, okay? They treat me as Adhyatma, they treat me as Karma, okay? They treat me as Adi Bhuta, they treat me as Adi Daiva, they treat me as Adi Yajna, and they do that even at the time of travel. So now when these kind of terms are given, Arjuna gets confused. Okay? What do you mean by these words? Okay, because I don't understand. It's not like he doesn't understand, but in Sanskritam, each word has got multiple meanings, and we need to understand what, depending on the context, the meaning of those words may change. The terms may change. For example, think about engineer in English. When you say engineer, are you referring to a software engineer or a hardware engineer or a mechanical engineer? Okay, which engineer are you talking about? Please explain. Please qualify what you're saying. Okay, so like that, these terms that you're using, Bhagwan, please qualify them and tell me what those words mean. And these, so based on that one, Arjuna asks in the opening of this chapter 8, Kim Tad Brahma, what is that Brahma? Kim Adhyatmam, what is that Adhyatmam? What is this karma? Kim karma, Purushottama? Adibhutam cha kim, what is Adibhutam? Proktam is say, Adidaivam kim uchyate. Also tell me what is Adidaivam. Adhyagna katam, what is Adhyagna? Koatra dehesmin Madhusudhana. So who is this? Who is the person? Who is the entity that is in this body? Prayana kaliti katham, you are talking about at the time of travel. What kind of travel you're talking about? Explain to me. That's what he says. Then Bhagwan starts answering all what each of those terms are. Now, even though we talked about multiple terms, but all of those terms need little bit of a qualification, etc. So when Bhagavan says that, oh, when I mention Brahma, that means Aksharam. Aksharam means one that is imperishable Brahman I'm talking about. And Adhyatmam means your own true nature, Swabhavam or Adhyatmam. And Karma means karmas, meaning the actions that you perform as approved by Vedas. Okay, so that by performing those actions as they are approved by Vedas, what you're doing is that you are making everything possible. Means like the entire life cycle is based upon every being doing what they are supposed to do. Like that, he gives all the explanations. But what happened is that this Prayanakala AP, that Prayanakala means at the time of travel, what is that? So that the expounding on that Prayanakala is the rest of the chapter. Okay. Prayanakala. So here, Prayana, Yana means travel. Yana means like, so like we hear the term Yana. Where do you hear pretty much most of you heard the term Yana as part of multiple ways. Narayana, Yana. Okay. Ramayana. Okay. Uttarayana, Dakshinayana. This Yana is coming. Okay. So Narayana. Let's take Yana means travel, I said, right? So the travel of Nara, okay, meaning a human, the path of Nara to find himself is Narayana. And when you reach what? When you reach your destination is Narayana. So that means your path is Narayana and your destination is Narayana. So if my path and destination are one and the same, that means what? I'm already at destination. I'm already at my destination. It is just that I'm not realizing it. You know, in olden days, we used to have a lot of jokes about these rickshaws and autos in like popular places, like as in like in tourist places, where you get down from the train station and say, "Take me to that place," and they will bargain for like 100 rupees or 200 rupees to take you there, and you bargain profusely and like they say like 500, you say no, that's not $100, 100 rupees, whatever, and for 300 you finally say that okay, I'll pay you 300. And that rickshaw wala also reluctantly agrees, and then he makes you sit in the rickshaw with all your luggage, and then he goes like this and turns around, and that hotel is actually right across the where you want to go is right across the station. Okay. It is, you paid the 300 rupees or something because you did not realize that station is right, the hotel is right in front of station. This is a common experience that like many of us had uh, growing up when, this is a bit before Google Maps, etc., right? Where we want to go. So now, in the same way, Narayana is also like that. It is our final destination is something that we are not able to understand, and that's why we are struggling. And the moment we realize that my final destination is right within me, our journey is over. That Ayana is journey. Ramayana means it is the journey of Lord Rama. Now, but Rama also means Ananda. The meaning of Rama is Ananda. Ananda as in not happiness alone, but is infinitude. That happiness that comes from infinitude, meaning I alone am there, nothing else is there. So to the realization of my true nature is Ramayana. And you see the Uttarayana, Dakshinayana, you see the path that sun takes in summer solstice and winter solstice is called as Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So now today, I mean like as of now we are in Dakshinayana. right? And pretty soon, I think around December 21st or so, roughly around December 21st, we turn into Uttarayana. See, these terms are there, right? So now, so this ayanam, so prayana means prakarshena ayana. So that means that a special travel. Okay, so that means that whether we know or not, from the moment we are born, we are all traveling. Okay, we're all like, moving forward. Where are we moving to? We are all moving to death. Okay. What happens after death? Again, we'll be moving to birth. And again, we are going to die. So this birth and death is something that is going on forever. Now, but this prayana is some special travel. What is the special travel? That special travel is like, leaving our body is that special travel. So the here, prayana kale is actually representing the word death at the time of death. So that means at the time of death, okay, antakaale च मामेव स्वरन्मुक्त्या कलेव यः प्राणं मद्भावं याति नास्ति अत्र संशयः. In Shloka 5, Bhagavan says, at the time of death, even at the time, so like it's not antakale cha means also. Okay. So even at the time of death, if someone is actually remembering my name, meaning like, and they drop the body, they will reach me. There is no question about it. That's what Bhagavan says. And now I don't, I personally, but majority of us, for us, what happens? What is the final thought that we get at the time of our death? Obviously, like we haven't experienced death in this in our current lifetime yet, so we don't know what kind of thought we are going to get. But Bhagavan gives a hint. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamavevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhav bhavitaha. Says, whatever you are thinking in your last moment, that is what you will become. Okay? That is what you will become, and you'll get that. Oh, okay. I was poor in this lifetime. So I want money, money, money. Okay. And hence I want to be surrounded with money. Okay. In my next life. And then you will be born as, in next life, how are you born as? You will become a teller in bank. You'll be counting money from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's how you will live, and until a bank robbery that goes wrong, and then you leave that body as well. Right? So this, whatever we think at the last moment is what we become next life. So therefore, what Bhagavan says is tasmat, therefore, sarvakaleshu, all the time, mam anusmara yudhyacha. So you think of me and you do your task while you're thinking about me. Mayarpita manobuddhi mame vaishya. So put all your mind and your put all your mind towards me, and you think about me and then do work. So then what happens is that you will reach me. There is no question about it. So that means what? If I'm thinking about something else, I will become something else. So whatever my predominant thought throughout my lifetime is, that is the thought that will come at the end of my life. Have you heard about someone who says, if they're like near death situation, okay, they say something interesting. Right? What do they say? My entire life ran before me in that brief moment. You heard the term? When they were okay, when they were like in a really pickle situation where they're thinking that they are going to die. So that means what? How we lived our life determines how our death is going to be. And how our death is going to be is going to determine how our next life is going to be. Okay. So this is what Bhagwan is saying, that you always think about me. Now, the question is like, how do I think about Bhagwan? I mean, like, say, if, say, for example, if I am coding, okay, if I'm thinking about God and coding, Can I code well? No, if the mind is on God, okay, can I code well? Okay, or if I'm doing any task that requires concentration, I cannot like concentrate on two things at the same time. I need to concentrate only on one thing. That is my job, not Bhagwan, right? So what kind of a thought Bhagwan is saying here? Okay, when he says Maya Pita Manobuddhi, okay, so it is impractical. Okay, this is a impractical thought process that Bhagwan is telling. So that's a question we may have. So when he says that no matter what you're doing, okay, no matter what you're doing, think about me. What does it mean? Yes, not like Bhagwan, I'm going to drink this water. Lord Krishna, okay, I'm going to look at this computer. Lord Krishna, that. Okay. Rather, understand that God is everywhere. God alone is everything. That way, whatever you look at, whatever you think is, okay, I am in midst of God. I am doing God's work. Whatever is before is also God. Whatever is after is also will also be God. And whatever I'm also doing is God's work alone. That kind of a thought process once you have, and if you don't get rid of that thought process, no matter what you do, you're only thinking about God alone. There is no question about it. Now, obviously, like to get to that point, I I had to get. I mean, like it is not going. I mean, like just because we talked about it for the last 20 minutes or so, can I get to that? Okay, how do I start? It says, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, this is the eighth verse. Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa, na Anyagamina, Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Partha Anuchintayan. So, Chintayan means think about. Anuchintayan means think about afterwards. Afterwards means after proper understanding. You get proper understanding after proper learning. Okay, so you learn, you understand, and then you think about it. And then how you think about it? Abhyasa yoga. Abhyasa means practice. What yoga you're practicing? Abhyasa yoga also is means sometimes karma yoga also. That means that you must perform karma yoga. Karma yoga is described in chapter 2 and chapter 3. And for those people who are just joining now, okay, Abhyasa yoga or karma yoga, what it means is that I should only perform my duties, none other than my duties. And when I'm performing whatever duties, understand that I'm not performing for my sake, but for the sake of God. And whatever result comes is also up to God to give those results. I'm not looking for a specific result. I will accept whatever result God gives. So this kind of attitude that we have, and with that attitude, we perform our action, that is Abhyasa Yoga. So along with that, when you have that kind of a thought, then it is much more easier to understand that God is everywhere. And now you can think about. When you think about what is the nature of God, is described in the next two shlokas. It says, like in the ninth verse, it says, Kavim Purana Manushasitara Manoraniyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dhadara Matintya Rupamaditya Varnan Tamasa Parastat. So here, the nature of God that you are going to attain. Yeah, because prana kalapi, right? So when you are doing this way and when you're thinking about it, you are going to see the Lord, experience the truth of God. Kavim means poet is a typical understanding. But the Kavi in the past, they did not write love songs or war songs or something like that, right? Poetry. Their poetry was primarily about describing the nature of God. So Kavi means Kranti Darshinaha Kavi. That is the meaning. Kranti Darshinaha means one who has a much deeper understanding, subtle understanding. Because like even in the modern explanation of Kavi, right? I mean, like modern definition of Kavi, poet, if you and I go into a a garden. Okay, maybe a flower garden. You go there, bunch of flowers are there, and we look at the and say, oh, this is so beautiful, that is so beautiful, and then what we do is that we take some pictures and then we share and put it on our Instagram or wherever. That's all we do. But for a Kavi, when he sees those, what he does, he will write a poetry about how that those birds are opening, how that flowers are blooming, etc. Like he has a type of a vision, a level of a vision that a regular person lacks. So that now that ultimate Kavi, okay, that the one who has complete understanding of how this world is, how it was, and how it is going to be, everything, who has this entire blueprint of this entire universe is Bhagwan. Hence, the Bhagwan is called as Kavi and is Purana. Purana means in Hindi, Purana, like the word Purana, Purana means old. Okay, Purana comes from Purana. But Purana doesn't mean old. Purana, Purana means actually it is Pura api Nava. It is old, but it's still new. What is old but still new means it is, we don't know when it was there, like since when it is there, but there is no change because, like, like so for example, okay, I was showing this cup before, right? Okay, so this cup I got about 2 years ago. Now, 2 years ago when I got, it was very clean cup, okay, nice cup. Then I started using it. Now it has got bunch of stains all around it, etc. Now it is not in the same condition as then. That means what happened is that from the date of manufacture, it kept on changing, 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 and eventually it will disintegrate. Now this one, which is timeless, has absolutely no change, no disintegration of any sort. That is, which is very old, but it's still brand new. That is Bhagavan. God is before anybody else, because if someone else is before God, then that entity is God, right? Okay, God is before anything else, anyone else, and yet there is no change in God. And hence, it is appears to be brand new. Now, the same concept, say, for example, how do we say it? When we bring it like one level down, you probably, especially the people from Andhra, as in like Telugu states, you probably know Nitya Kalyanam Pachatoranam. Have you heard that name, that term? Okay. Nitya Kalyanam means wedding every day. Pachatoranam means this torrent that they put on this I mean like entry spots, right? So that means what God is getting, like a wedding is being done every day. Now Kalyana, it means actually it's not actually wedding, even though we think Kalyana is wedding, it's actually Kalyana means whatever is the very good, okay? Supreme good is called as Kalyana. So Nitya Kalyana means always supreme good. Okay, that means that like what is always supreme good is whatever is God's path is there, that is absolute good, and that is always there. Okay, so that is the idea, that same idea, that is Purana. Okay, Anushasitaram. Anushasitaram means Shasana. Shasana means rule, and his Shasana alone runs everywhere. What do you mean by his Shasana runs anywhere? I don't see. Okay, when I look at all of this world, I see lawlessness everywhere. Okay, now that is all depending upon our perspective. Bhagavan said our heart should beat. And remember, like Bhagavan that we are talking is not someone who is sitting in the Western model where, and not even in Eastern model. Okay, not necessarily. Why to talk about West versus East? It is not like God is someone who is sitting far away and he is managing. Okay, rather he is right within us, and he says, "Let this heart beat." At what speed? At 72 beats per minute. And that is how our heart is working. unless something is wrong. Okay, if it is like beating 76 times or 68 times, that means that there's something wrong. I mean, like obviously, like you may be exercising, etc. That's a different story. But it is beating according to how it is described. And the moment it stops, that means that this body is gone. And since how long is it beating? Since the time of my birth. For how many years? All my years. Okay. And whether it is heartbeat, whether it's the flow of blood, whether it is digestion of my food, all of that are happening right within me according to the rule of law. Okay. It can only digest so much. Okay. If I eat too much, there's indigestion. If I eat too little, there is hunger. Why? Because it follows a particular rule saying that this amount of calories of food is needed for this body on a daily basis at this particular interval. So, like that, if you look at our own body, we can understand the greatness of God. Yeah. Because, like we say, I am self-made man. But the reality is what? If you're a self-made man, how were you born? You made yourself? No, your parents made you. Okay. Now, then why don't I breathe? Okay, so when you're sleeping, who is making you breathe? You are not the one who is putting an effort. Oh, I need to inhale now. I need to exhale now. That's not what you're doing when you're sleeping. Okay, that is happening naturally. Naturally means the nature is taking care of it. The nature is under the control of God. So God is the one who is taking care of our breathing even when I'm sleeping. I might have forgot how to breathe. Okay, when to breathe, when not to breathe. But God is not forgetting about the fact that you have to breathe at a particular frequency and ensuring that you are breathing whether you are awake or not. Okay, so like that, that Anushasana, that control of this entire thing is uh, uh, done by God. And Anoraniyam, so that means that he is smaller than smallest and also is larger than the largest. Because there's nothing, I mean, like, say, when you think about, like, what do you mean smaller than smallest? Why is this word used? Is that now we said that this cup, right? I mean, I'm showing this same prop multiple times. Okay, so this cup is there. Now, this cup is, if this cup is broken into, like it falls and it breaks into pieces, can I call this as a cup? No. Okay. Why? Because cup is made up of some other element which is other than cup. Okay. This particular form and shape is called as cup, but it is made up of clay. So now, and what is clay? Clay is made up of mud. Okay. What is mud? It is made up of some molecules. Molecules are made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of subatomic particles. Like that, if you keep on going. So whatever is smaller than the smallest, that is Bhagwan. And hence, what happens is that in and through whatever form that comes out, all of that is God alone. And then larger than the largest, whatever you think about, all of that is God alone. No, if you look at the entire universe, all our universe, across all those galaxies, etc., which we don't know what is the, because every day our scientists say like, oh, our universe is some billions years old, and then they revise saying that no, it is not that. It is actually a little more than what we thought, or it is little bigger than what we originally thought because we just discovered some more galaxies like that, right? So but whatever the source of this entire galaxies or entire universe is, that is God alone. And all of that is in God, and hence he is bigger than the biggest and yet smaller than the smallest. So, like this is, and then Sarvasya Dhadaram Achintya Rupam. Now, Achintya Rupam means you cannot think about his form because whatever form you think, look at as a tree, it is God alone. A window is God alone. A microphone is God alone. So any form that I think of is God alone. Again, like remember to last chapter that we just talked about, right? Anything and everything is God alone is there. So if you say that this is the form of God, that means what? You are trying to limit something that is limitless. Okay. whatever infinite is there, that infinite nature of God, you're trying to put it into a finite form. So that is why it is called as achintya rupam, which is beyond your thought. Okay, you cannot really objectify God, and that is the nature of God. So we'll pause here. We'll pick up from where we left in our next session. So before we close, I want to check if anyone of you have got any questions. So there's going to be a test next week. I'm going to quiz you on everything that I said today. Okay, so it will be multiple answers with so multiple choice with each answer will be like multiple choices will be there. Okay, so shall we close? पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ.
Thank you, Venkat.
Thanks everyone. Have a great week ahead, and we'll meet next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Venkat.
Yeah.